It's the World Superbikes and we are at Emilia-Romagna in Rimini, Italy, and this amazing circuit is tricky and challenging and awesome to behold. Welcome to the opening race of the weekend. Let's head down to James Toseland, talking already with Alex Lowes.
And yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a long race, but we did the work yesterday afternoon, did a long run, and I feel like we could be pretty strong in the second part.
Sorry to break your focus there, mate, but good luck in race one.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a fabulous race for the BMotors. 1989 it was since a BMotor was on the front row, and Axel Bassani has put it on there. But before we get to Axel Bassani, we want to go to the leader of the championship, Nicolo Bulliger. The pressure is on this boy. There's a lot of people on the grid. All I want to ask is one question, Nicolo, if that's okay. You're in Italy. We saw Stefano Manzi winning in Supersport for the Italian fans. You're looking forward to this race?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this race. I think I have a good pace. I have a nice feeling with my bike, and it's fantastic if I can take the win here. So I will try to do my best.
The penalty, obviously not the best place on the grid, but you should still be okay.
Not the best, the penalty, because I think I don't deserve this penalty. But anyway, I take this decision, and I will try to do my best.
Good luck, Nicolo.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was going to be brilliant all weekend long. He's been 0.2 of a second faster than most on the grid. And now we come to the front row because we've got Sam Lowes here in third. This is a man in form, a man with confidence, and it's lovely to see the smile on your face, mate, because you're getting the hang of this World Superbikes lot.
Slowly getting there, slowly getting there.
No, I mean, honestly, another front row. This is the third of the year, I think. Obviously, pole position in Assen. Race distance in different conditions. It's very hot today. You've got to manage the tyre. Still a lot to learn.
Yeah, obviously yesterday we missed out on the FP2, which was similar to this condition. I've not yet tried the SC2 front, but I've got it in here now for the race. But it's, yeah, I feel quite confident. The end of the race, the rear will be fine, I think, for everybody. But it's just managing the front and, yeah, picking my markers, doing a solid race and taking that into tomorrow.
Good luck, Sam.
Cheers, thank you.
Oh, SC2 front, that's going to be an interesting one. We know it's hot, but we know that harder front tyre in the high lean angle positions, you've got to be very, very careful that you don't lose the front. And I'm being waved over here to try and find Axel Bassani. Oh no, we haven't got time for Axel Bassani. We're going straight to Top Rack, Exatardlu in pole position. And as I go under the barrier here, Phil Maron, everybody's trying to keep him cool. He's just putting his helmet on here. Top Rack, quick word. How are you doing, my friend? Pole position, obviously with the penalty. You must be pretty confident now with Bulliger on the second row.
Yeah, but you know, in the race, looks like we are really fighting with Bulliger, and second or first position is for me doesn't matter. You know, I'm okay for me because the finish to qualifying, I'm second position. Now I move the first position. This is not change for me, but I'm just focused the race because still I'm not finding a good setup after the test. Normally in the test I'm more happy, but now we are just focused to the engine brake. But anyway, you know, I'm just fighting for the win. We did last year 3 times, but this year is completely different. Also, the Nicola is very strong. We will see who is the win, but I will try to my best again.
You're 31 points behind the lead. You have got the MotoGP contract in the bag now. Are you a little bit more relaxed now in pole position here after everything's sorted?
For next year or for future, I'm relaxed, but this weekend, not.
Good luck, Top Rack.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, brilliant from him. He deserves that MotoGP ride. It's been absolutely amazing, well, for the past 4 or 5 years, hasn't he? He's been absolutely dominant. I can't call this. We've got Axel Bassani. We didn't have a chance to touch him, but let's just have a pan round because this is the first BMotor on the front row since 1989, and I'm guessing that was maybe a Davide Tedozzi, and Axel's just keeping cool on the grass. We didn't really have time to talk to him. We will have time to talk to him in race 2. Well, Greg Haynes, it's the King's birthday. Many happy returns, Charles. Who's going to reign here in race 1 in Misano?
Very nicely done.
Thanks very much indeed, James. Yes, happy birthday, Your Majesty, and that's Charles I'm referring to, not James Toseland. Yes, indeed, you're absolutely right. It was Enna Pegusa, the classic circuit on Sicily, and it was Giancarlo Falappa, James, if you can hear me. He's the man who took that last BMotor front row, as you so rightly say, in the second season of World Superbikes back in 1989. What history then, and what a place for that to happen as well, with Bassani now second on the grid, of course, because of the Bulliger penalty. So, if you are just joining us, welcome along. Less than 5 minutes to go until this race gets underway. The first of 3 this weekend, 21 laps for the Superbike World Championship, and we are halfway through the season at the end of this event. We have 434 points still left on the table, which is 58% of the maximum points given out, which is 744 over a full season. So 434 points still up on the table for grabs, and if it finishes as they start, which, let's be honest, is quite unlikely, but if it does, the lead for Budiger would fall from 31 to 19. Toprak starting on pole, Bassani second, Sam Lowes is third as we look at Ryan Vickers, who did well earlier to respond from a crash. The Moto Corsa team did well as well to repair the bike. As you can see, the clock is counting down on the gantry. 90 seconds to go now until the warm-up lap begins as we move across the front row of the grid for the first time ahead of a Superbike race this weekend. So, Sam Lowes, third front row of the season. Bassani, third front row of his career, and the first for a Bimotor since 1989. Toprak Razgatlioglu, pole position for the third time this year and the 21st time in his career, but directly behind him is the championship leader Nicolo Budiger.
Here's how it stands then, coming into what is round number 8 of the championship. This is it, here we go. It's Toprak Razgatlioglu on pole position with Marcelo Bassini on second. Sam Lowes starts third, Budiger demoted to fourth, Alex Lowes fifth, Gardner sixth, Locatelli in seventh, Petrucci eighth, Montella ninth, Iannone in 10th, Bautista 11th, Lucanoa in 12th, Agata 13th, Van der Mark 14th, Gerloff 15th, Johnson Ray 16th, Vierge 17th, Redding 18th, Vickers 19th, Sofagulu in 20th, Rinaldi in 21st, Mackenzie 22nd, Zahardi in 23rd. 21 laps ahead of us then, here at Emilia-Romagna. And the race about to launch off down to turn 1.
The harder compound, we know that Sam's on it because he's just confirmed it on the front row. Nicolo Budiger is on it, but the other two front rowers, Toprak and Bassani, have both chosen the softer option. The other SE2 is Garrett Gerloff and Scott Redding and Zakwan Zaidi on the back. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 6 riders on the grid that have chosen that harder front. Will that pay dividend to Sam Lowes in the latter part of this race?
Wow, I'm going to make a note of that, James, as I actually draw this on my track, on my grid. So, Sam Lowes, make a note at home as well. Sam Lowes, harder front tyre. Budiger, Andrea Iannone, he, like Budiger, has a 3-place grid drop as well for delaying Petrucci in Superpole. Gerloff, as you said, Scott Redding, and then Zakwan Zaidi. I've made some crosses next to their names. We'll keep an eye on that as this race goes on.
You can see Sam is digging in the front. Look how much he's pulling away from the rest of the pack, and that's because he's generating some temperature and some wear to try and get that SC2 front right in the sweet spot before this race starts. That's good tactics from Sam.
James Mazzano, such a classic place, of course. It was switched around, wasn't it? It was designed in 1969. They used to race on the roads in this part of the world, but then from 2007 onwards, it was no longer anti-clockwise. It was clockwise, as it still is to this day. What's it like racing here? I mean, you spent 4 odd years with Ducati. It must be a special place.
It really is a special place. Everybody around here, this region, it's huge for motorcycle racing. A little bit like the Yorkshire and Lancashire area, with myself, Hodgson and Foggy, all in that kind of caption. And Rimini area and Misano has so many, not to mention Valentino Rossi, etc., etc. There are lots and lots of really successful Italian riders, only a stone's throw away from this place. It's right next to the motorway. The grandstand literally is adjacent to the motorway here in Italy.
And it's a good circuit as well, as we get ready for the lights to go on. Let's take a look then at the rider tracker. Let's hope that works. 21 laps ahead of us then for what is going to be a awesome race down to the first corner. Toprak versus Bassini and Lowes. Watch out for Budiger coming as well from the second row. Green flag is at the back then. Race 1 is under starters' orders. Lights out, we're racing in Emilia-Romagna. Perfect start from Toprak. Sam Lowe's not so good. Alex is coming in between the two brothers, having a bit of a battle into turn 1. Bassini stays in second. Bullock around the outside of Locatelli takes third. Through the chicane they come. Now, back out we go. Hopefully all is good. Yes, at the moment, that's the perfect news and a perfect start. As up into third, Bulliger, Locatelli in fourth, Gardner fifth. That's Alex Lowe's ahead of Sam. So Sam drops from third all the way to seventh. Terrible start for him early on in this race as we come down towards turn 8 for the first time. Top Rat's got a great momentum on him as well, but can he hold that inside line as Taryn McKenzie drops back? So does Dominic Agata. So there's a little bit of a wide moment for those two. Oh, big one there! And that is why Dominic Agata and Sofagulu out of the race. This might trigger a red flag procedure. Yeah, the 77 and 80 and 99 have crashed down at turn 8. A big one. No sign of the red flag at the moment as they continue on down through the inside line. Bulliger takes second position and Toprak Razgalioli's dropped back. Toprak's dropped back to third. A mistake from the Turkish rider has put Nikolai Bulliger into the lead of the race. So that is the drama on lap 1 already. It's the fact that Bulliger now leads this race. Now the marshal's going to bring the bike back. Can they get it out of there in time? We're at the last corner. So yeah, the 99 out of turn 9. No sign of the red flag. Let's hope we don't have a race interrupted because there's a bike in the centre of the track. Race control will be keeping their eye peeled on that one. So Toprak's dropped back into third position already. Scott Redding takes 17th position as the race goes on. What a fantastic start. No idea why the driver tracker isn't working this weekend. That's already a bit typical for them as well. It hasn't done it so far. Confirmed out is Sofagulu, Agata 2. So we have 21 running. We're coming down towards turn 8 now. And the 47's out. Out of the race has gone Axel Bassini. According to our timing monitor, Bassini's gone down. Right in front of us, yellow flags come out now. Axel Bassini on home soil has crashed out down at turn 6 on the switchback. And the airbag's gone off, but the man in second's gone back, so that's now put Top Rat Razgolio in there. And why are the marshals throwing stuff at them?
Absolutely right this time. I was absolutely wrong. Out of the race goes Bassani. What a shame.
Wow.
So the motor Alex Lowe is now on the podium in third place.
Yeah, Petrucci's making a little bit of ground up as well on Locatelli. And that is Remy Gardner going wide at turn 11, I think. And that has let Montella through on the Barney Sparks Ducati, has it? Yes, it has.
Oh, this is a chaotic start to the race. We
Changing
said everyone was
again.
going to be struggling on the front end, James, and it's exactly what's happening. Toprak is reeling Bulliger back in. Scott Redding making a move in the background there on Rinaldi, and up into 16th place. Ray now has Ray's lost a few positions then. I don't know whether Jonathan got tangled up in the first lap shuffle because he was up to 11th at one point, now down to 15th. He's just passed Ryan Vickers for 14th place. Batista's cutting through. Batista is now 9th. He's overtaken Andrea Iannone.
Yeah, Sam Lowe's on that harder front. Looks like he's just struggling for a little bit of mid-corner speed, especially around this turn 3. You can see how
Agata's gone to the medical centre.
wide wall, and when you're accelerating all the way through that corner, look, like Sam is always sideways into turn 4 as well. Fingers crossed that the fuel load will be going down and the grip level will have an advantage towards the race. But here we go, Greg. Toprak is clinging onto the back of Bulliger into turn 8, and he's right on him again.
As Petrucci dives up the inside line of Locatelli at turn 8, very close between Locatelli having to sit up just a second, but they've got that manoeuvre stick. So Toprak staying with Bulliger, who's taken the lead of the race after pole position earlier on and breaking the track record. It's still going to be flying.
Just had that weird off, if you remember, a year or so ago. At the front, Bulliger still half a second ahead of Toprak. Now, the last 6 races here, James, have all been won from pole position, and Toprak wants to make it 7 wins from pole in the last 7. Well, he's only 4 tenths now, I can tell you, behind Bulliger. There they are,
back
up the road. This is Lowe's, Petrucci, Locatelli.
Out goes Iannone at turn 13. Andrea Iannone has crashed out of the race.
Iannone's now falling down, and that's the reason, because he's fallen down.
Turn 12 and 13 we've got on the indicators here. I will see on the replay exactly where it is, but that is fast through there. We saw Jonathan Ray crash last year at high speed through that section. It is turn 13 that it's been confirmed. Unlucky for Iannone this time.
But it was Friday the 13th yesterday, and there's still a lot of lack of luck going on here, isn't there? Dear, oh dear, let's hope that's the last. But with the way things are going, this is difficult stuff for everybody. Now, look for the yellow flash of Iannone. Where is he? He's going to be coming in on the right-hand side of your screen.
Oh,
there he goes.
Dominic Agata is just taken to the medical centre, so fingers crossed that he's okay. But this is Iannone. Look, he just got underneath the Honda of Lecuona, just going through, I think that is. Yes, it is that. And then he's just gone in too hot, hasn't he? Because of that slipstream and the acceleration that he carried to make the overtake, he then went into the next corner a little bit too quick.
Yeah, this is proving to be a bit of a sorry season, isn't it, by his standards? That's his third retirement from a race, and he didn't even start any of the races after a horrible crash on Friday at Most a month ago. Now they come flying past us, and then it's daylight. Look at that gap back to Alex Lowe's and the rest of the field. It's 4 seconds already. There's a confirmation of what you've just said, James. Agata to the medical centre. If we hear any news, we'll let you know.
Oh, did you see Toprak's BMW completely sideways through the fastest corner here at Misano in 6th gear, 180 miles an hour, and the BMW was floating towards the edge of the track. The bike control of these two this season, they have been absolutely outstanding. Look at the gap that they pulled to third place man at the minute in Alex Lowe's. Look at the performance level. This has got... It's got the hallmarks of 2002, this, hasn't it? With Bayliss and Edwards. It's what could be one of the most epic championships with two of the greatest riders now. Obviously, with Bayliss and Edwards and Nicola Bulliger. With last year and this year, you've got to say, he could be another great in this Superbike Championship.
Yeah, it's always fun to make a prediction, isn't it? But I think this could really go down as one of the great rivalries in the whole of the history of World Superbikes. And who knows, the chances are, James, into 2027 and beyond, it might well become a rivalry that is continued in the MotoGP World Championship as well. But Toprak right up behind him now. He's taking chunks out of that Ducati. This is fantastic stuff again. They're almost 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field now as Alex Lowe's continues to defend vigorously from Petrucci and Locatelli. You'll see them in the distance.
Bulliger sliding out massively, and Toprak's going for it on the inside. Toprak Rascallion, who takes the lead here in Emilia-Romagna.
I think Bulliger half let Toprak pass then. That was far, far too easy for Toprak into the hairpin, like you say. And I think Bulliger has got a few tactics up his sleeve, and he doesn't want to damage that rear tyre too much in these temperatures, and he's just going to have a little bit of a look now. He knows all weekend he's had the better of Toprak really on the timesheets consistently, so this is now time to see what Toprak's got.
And is Bulliger maybe thinking about the front tyre as well, just dropping in behind Toprak, doing a bit of a Marc Marquez in Thailand earlier this year?
Possibly. I'm not sure if they'll know which front tyre they've picked, but they are on the softer option, both of them. But I think it's just a tactic from Bulliger to see where Toprak is good, where he's weak, and where he can pounce on him in the last few laps. But there is like 16 laps to go. There's a long way still to be done in this one.
Yeah, bring it on. Shout out for Vickers. He's in the points at the moment. He's on target for 1 point at the moment after that qualifying crash on the Moto Corsa Ducati. Alex Lowe's has been passed by Petrucci as we were watching Toprak pass Bulliger just a second or so later. Look in the background. Here we go. Thank you very much. There's Petrucci up in front of Alex Lowe's. So this is Barney-inspired Ducati with that golden crash helmet design this weekend. But this is the move. This is down into the Quercia. Last time round, we're with Petrucci. We're in the tow, and we're taking that third place from Alex Lowe's.
We are, and the Ducati still has the edge on a Kawasaki engine, doesn't it? It's BMotor on the badge, but it is a Kawasaki dragging that bike all the way down that straight, and the Ducati of Petrucci had a definite advantage down that straight. See what the Ducati's advantage is here. The factory one on the BMW. Not too much in that, is there, from the hairpin all through this turn 11, Greg?
Oh, just listen to him sliding up the tyres. You can see which tyres they're on there. The SC2 front. Yellow flags are out again for some reason. They're on the SCX development rear. Oh, Vandermark again. Oh, that's his fourth crash of the weekend, James. And it's Tremonto again. He's crashed there already this weekend. We're with Bulliger now. Let's just watch what these bikes are doing. Let's see how much this BMW is moving around down into this last corner.
Vandermark is a rider under pressure, isn't he? He's been Toprak's teammate, and Toprak has been a real champion of Vandermark. You can just see the confirmation of that SC1 front and SCX rear. And without Toprak in the BMW team, Vandermark is under pressure, isn't he, on keeping that ride, because his performances have not been really where they need to. Toprak's winning on this bike, and this man here is languishing down in 14th in the championship. He's 196 points behind Bulliger in the championship. We've seen how flustered he's been this weekend, haven't we, Greg, from the crashing?
And here is the crash, right-hand side of your screen. There he goes.
Oh, yeah, unusual. He did that exact same crash into turn 1, and he's now done exactly the same mistake into that turn 10. So the feeling on the front for the BM, Toprak's been talking about it as well this weekend. It just doesn't give you much feeling on the side of the tyre here where you're braking, and then you're just then leaning in. And just at the point you're letting off the brake, you seem to lose a bit of feeling from it. But once again, Toprak can ride around it beautifully.
Well, let's hope for some positivity sooner rather than later for Michael van der Mark, because he'll be starting his 300th World Superbike race when we get to the last race at Donington. Get your tickets in www.donington-park.co.uk. Van der Mark will be celebrating his 300th start there in a few weeks' time.
I just saw the front end just protesting a little bit in turn 14, the hairpin there for Toprak. But it looks like Nicolo Bulliger isn't as comfortable as I thought he was going to be, trying to keep up with this BMW in front of him. He's there or thereabouts, isn't he? But you can just tell Bulliger's having to put a shift in here at this midpoint of the race, or coming up to.
So Bulliger, James, one of those 6 riders you pointed out before the start who's on that harder front tyre. It's going to be interesting to see, isn't it, what happens in the closing stages. Here's Sam Lowes, right behind Locatelli. Although, as I say, Charles Davis was telling me last night it's not so much about grip with those tyres, it's more about braking stability. So it'll be interesting to see what Bulliger can do. Remember, Sam Lowes is on that tyre as well, and he is in 6th place at the moment. There he is, backing his way down into Rio again. This is Bautista. Now, Mr. Bautista down in 8th place. What are you going to do next year? We reckon there are only 2 real options, James, apart from retirement. One of them is BMW, and one of them is a return to Honda. Now, would he return to Honda? Well, he went back to Ducati, didn't he, after falling out with them? He could go back to Honda. It's under a lot of Spanish management now, with Jose Escames leading the charge there. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Bautista might not be in the championship next year. Let's hope that he is.
Well, you know, he's getting of a certain age now. He is 40 years old, isn't he? And his birthday's in November. He's 41, so he'll be 41 next year. He's 0.8 of a second off the pace at the minute. Is this the moment where, unfortunately, as we're all going the wrong way with age, you know, the part where Bautista has to concede to the youngsters coming through and say, thank you, I've had an amazing time, an amazing career, but unfortunately the receptors in my body and the brain and the fatigue and all the rest of it is not able to wrestle a Superbike round like it needs to be done, but it's not an easy decision to make. I mean, I was forced to make mine, but even when you were 40, like I was talking to Max Biaggi and Troy Bayliss, and they were struggling till they were 50, because they still felt like that they could go on, but the body just wasn't doing what they wanted to do, and the frustration kicks in, and it's a really difficult period in your life as a professional sportsman.
I noticed Toprak touched the green paint. He was exceeding track limits between the last 2 corners. Just to try and get into the racer's mind then, James, before you had that unfortunate crash which broke your right wrist in 2011 when you were testing in Aragon, had you ever even had thoughts of retiring? Had that even come into your mind at that point?
No, not at all. But, you know, I was only just 30, 29, 30, but then I kind of recovered from not doing this amazing job. This is the best job in the world. And by the time I got to 40 years old, I'd kind of recovered from that really horrible period in my life with all the operations on the wrist, etc. But what helped me particularly was talking to Max Biaggi and Troy Bayliss and all the riders that I used to race against when they naturally retired just through age. They were 50 before they got okay with life about not riding, so at least I had a bit of a chance of starting something new in my life again, like here on television with commentary and everything else. And
Van der Mark's out.
It isn't easy at all. You know, we're all addicts in this world, whether it be chocolate or coffee or motorcycle racing or whatever you're doing. This is one of the thrills of anything that you can do in life, and it's not an easy thing to wean off.
Chocolate, definitely. Thank you very much. Toprak Razgatlioglu just set the fastest lap of the race on a 1:33.2, but Bulliger is only 0.07 of a second slower as they continue to pull away. Now 8 seconds ahead, incredible, isn't it, from the rest of the field. Petrucci is 3rd. Van der Mark, I can tell you, with a damaged bike, has just pitted here. So one BMW out front, the other one really struggling. I really do feel for Michael van der Mark. 4 times a crasher so far this weekend. But look at the exit. Nicola Budiger's just got there, coming out of the left-hander at 6, down through the kink. It's classed as a corner, but it's very much an acceleration zone. Reminds me a little bit of the Cooper Straight at Brands Hatch, which we always say is anything but straight. Down through the Quercia corner, the Oak Tree corner, up to Tramonto. Famous names, famous corners on a world-famous circuit. And look how he has reeled him in down through Tramonto, over the top of the inside curve, and he's right back on the rear wheel again.
Well, you saw the opener of this show. It was inside a boxing ring.
He's going for it. Budiger's thinking about a move. The camera broke up just as we were trying to see if that was going to be an inside manoeuvre.
Laps to go, and the blue corner looks like he's struggling for a little bit of mid-corner speed on that bike. And like you say, he got the harder front tyre on the one behind. Is this where it starts to come into his own? And Nicola Budiger could be given a knockout punch in a second.
Seconds out, ding ding, track limits warning for Sam Lowes. So he's obviously touched the green paint somewhere around this track, but don't forget, as we said before, Budiger is in a harder front tyre. In theory, more braking stability, and that might really start paying dividends now as we get down into the Pirate Chicane. Right, left, you see the old track there where it used to go the other way around and do a left, a long left, back into the start-finish in those days. Of course, you knew that, James. You and Shaky, in fact, part of the generation who actually experienced Mazzano in both directions, anti-clockwise and clockwise, as it now is. There's that track limits warning for Sam Lowes. It's not just appeared on our timing screen, it also comes up on his dashboard as well on the motorcycle. He's currently in 6th position.
That first split, Top Rack is absolutely electric. Look at the distance that he's pulled on Nicola Budiger, and it looked like Top Rack was struggling a lap ago, and Nicola Budiger was finding it very, very comfortable to follow him. But when Top Rack gets it right, and he hits the brakes and gets the front of any motorcycle into a corner, it is just unbelievable how he hits the apex every single time. We were talking about him going to MotoGP and talking about who's going to replace him here in BMW. And if you're not a Marc Marquez, if you're not a Pedro Acosta, if you're not a Jorge Martin, and if you're not a Fabio Quartararo, that's Remy Gardner down at turn 8, luckily he's okay. If you're not one of those riders with that kind of talent, you're not going to fill the shoes of this man here in World Superbikes.
Well, we're hearing that Pecco Bagnaia will appear at some point this weekend if he does.
Did he
touch the green again? Because if he did, that's twice now. Be careful, Top Rack. But if you do see Pecco Bagnaia on the grid, James, please, on behalf of everyone, ask him, what does he make of Top Rack? And obviously, I know you would anyway, but what does he make of Top Rack, and how strong does he think he will be, not least in 27 on the Pirelli tyres? What a shame, though, for Gardner. He was up there in 8th position. So Gardner at La Quercia corner. So quite a few retirements here. Agata and Sofoglu were down on the opening lap. Bassani crashed out of a podium position just a few minutes later. Iannone down, high-speed accident at turn 13, just as Jonathan Ray had last year, and Van der Mark pulls into the pits after a crash at Tramonto. I'm pleased to say all of those riders were able to walk away, although Agata has been summoned to the medical centre. We'll let you know when we have a bulletin there from the FIM medical officer, Monica Lazzarotti. Nice to see a good amount of people there on that bank on the inside of Quercia corner. As we look back now from Top Rack to Budiger, I'm going to stop talking for a second. Just listen to the traction control as he applies the power.
Yeah, like Budiger was wide there, Greg. Listen to this scream through turn 11. Oh, that's a shame.
Well,
yes, he could have heard the traction control come in. It's great to see like a load of names. Enia Bastianini, great to see MotoGP riders like him in the paddock as well. Diogo Moreira, I saw on the grid just before this race. What a finish that was in Aragon with Dennis on cue. They were going for their first victories, the first ever pole position for a Brazilian rider with Diego as well. So it's a star-studded collection of riders we're having here at Misano.
Do you know they're only 9/10 of a second as well today off the MotoGP pole position time from last year of Pecco Bagnaia at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Remember, we had 2 races here last year. A 1:30 flat it was for Pecco Bagnaia, of course, a Ducati world champion of 2022 and 23. Same year as Bautista was winning for Ducati here in World Superbikes. But in the meantime, lap 13 of 21, and you saw Alex Lowes up behind Petrucci for 3rd, and this is Bautista now up behind the man who so many are saying might take his ride next year, Jari Montella, who is a star of practice here. The belief is he did put a qualifying tyre in, but even so, he was 3rd fastest here in practice yesterday.
Obviously, Top Rack's going to MotoGP. Is he going to take the place of Oliveira or Jack Miller? We do not know yet, do we? And obviously, having one of those two riders here, you know, Ennio Bastianini, he says he's here to support one of the super sport riders. But as Bagnaia, sticks it up the inside of Montella.
Bautista even.
Bautista, sorry. Yeah, we're still talking about MotoGP rides, aren't we?
We've done that before, haven't we?
Yes, brilliant move there from Bautista on Montella. How important is that for next year's contracts group, as you say?
Yeah, nice move there from Alvaro. But this is, I mean, how many times have we seen this as Gigi himself watches on down in the garage? Giulio Nava, crew chief on the right there. He doesn't look very happy, does he, at the moment, Gigi Deligno? I guess there's not too much to be getting overly excited about. At the front there is, but not down here in 7th place. But how many times have we said this? Bautista having to fight through, James, from a lowly grid position. This is the 2nd round in a row in which he's been in double figures in qualifying.
Since he's had 5 or 6 kilograms strapped to that motorcycle, he hasn't been able to qualify well at all, has he? It's really hindered him. It's a real shame. Was it too much of a penalty for him a couple of years ago when they changed the rules to, if you are over 80 kilograms, under 80 kilograms with all of your racing equipment on, then you have to put half a kilo of weight on the bikes for every kilogram you are under 80 kilograms. That's how they do it. Because he's 76 kilograms with all his stuff on, I don't know how he does that, because I don't think I'm 76 for, you know, even with my bedroom
big
suit
snap
on.
from Sam Lowe's.
Refer back to the chocolate conversation.
Sam Lowe's, typical of GT, by the way. Come on, focus on the racing, because Sam Lowe's just had a massive front end slide coming out of turn 4, and it's left him vulnerable now. Tavio Bautista coming down to turn 8. Bautista dives up the inside line. He trail breaks in as well, gets it all squealed up straight off the track, and Lowe's cuts back underneath. So the front tyres starting to go here with 8 to go.
Of the head again.
Yeah, Giulio Nava as well, and guess who he falls back behind? Jari Montella, 8th place. Never rains but it pours, as Bautista does a top rack from earlier on in the race. Now, Alex, can you get that Bimota on the podium here in the first Bimota comeback race at Misano since Bimota was bought in 2019 by Kawasaki, now back in the championship? There's the Quona. That's a lonely 9th place for him. There's his teammate Xavi Vierge. Like Iannone, was a pass fit by the medical team prior to the weekend, having undergone physiotherapy and all sorts of things with Dr. Mir back in Barcelona since Moss. Remember that first corner collision involving Jonathan Ray, Alvaro Bautista, Alex Lowe's and Vierge himself. Well, there's Xavi, the Catalan. He's 10th. Scott Redding behind him, and so many questions, James, still about Scott Redding. Is he going to Motor America? Is he going to BSB with PBM or Carl Fogarty's new team next year? The rumours that there was a Honda waiting for him in BSB, maybe even this season. Even some wild rumours about doing some road racing, but I think that was just triggered because of the fact he was recently at the Northwest 200, and I know he considered going to the Isle of Man TT but didn't quite get there this year. But let's hope that Scott Redding has some decent times ahead of him, because we hear that the team have been asking him for more money, and well, you can't keep going deeper and deeper into your pockets, can you? Redding at the moment in 11th place. Bottom right, you can see the live onboard picture there with your leader. That's Toprak Razgatlioglu. He leads Buliga by 0.4 of a second. Some of those shots, you'll see Buliga behind him. Yeah,
He's losing a couple of tenths in the first split, then gains it back again in the second split. So we'll keep an eye out on that, but that's a great little caption screen on the double split screen, as we say, on the onboard with Toprak just going through. But look at the distance. Toprak is already at turn 13. And then turn 14, when Bautista is coming out the hairpin turn 10. The level that Bulega and Toprak have raised the bar this year. They are a second faster every single lap on every single circuit that we've been to so far. 20 or 22 seconds a race over race distance, they are faster. It is quite incredible.
So Bautista retakes Jari Montella and is up into 7th position. Incidentally, we'll be hearing from Jari Montella in our build-up to the races here on TNT Sports on Sunday. But what about this? Alex Lowe's has got some very good pace here, hasn't he, in the closing stages? It really is. He's 0.3 quicker, actually, on that lap than Petrucci, and he could look up the inside now. That's going to get tight. But we know Alex is as good an overtaker as anybody.
Yes,
and there's the result.
move.
What a great move.
Yeah, lovely. Block pass into turn 2, and I thought Petrucci would then have the racing line on the way in, but Petrucci seems to be really struggling at this point with under 6 laps to go, and the Bimota of Alex Lowe's. What a result this is. A podium last year in the Super Pole race, wasn't it, on the Kawasaki? And now the Kawasaki-powered Bimota looks like he could have a second one here in the year after, but Petrucci comes back back at him into turn 8.
Oh, great.
But Alex does the old switchback, trying to come underneath. It still hasn't worked out, so Petrox gets back ahead. Alex Lowe's tries to hold it around the outside into 9 and 10. They're wheel to wheel, but he backs out of it on the run down towards turn 13.
Less than a second behind them now. And then the other Lowe's, Sam on the Mark VDS bike, is in 6th place. Sam, who was at Spa last weekend to encourage on his teammates, including Florian Marino and Randy Depenier in the Spa 8 hours.
This will be the first podium as well, let's not forget, for JBMotor of the season so far. You're going to have to look through the history books. The last time the JBMotor was on the podium, I remember the Go Show in 2000, was that the last time that they were on, as Greg Haynes scrambles through his sheets at the side of me. So I will Phil, I've just dropped him right under a bus there. So as now Petrucci comes across the line, there's 5 laps to go, and there's only 0.1 between Toprak Razgatlioglu and Nicolo Bulliga. And this battle for third is right on, as Petrucci's girlfriend looks slightly nervous in the box.
You're right, it was the Go Show, the late, great Anthony Gober, who we sadly lost early last year. Philip Island 2000, yeah. A quarter of a century since we last had a BMotor. Of course, we haven't had BMotors in the championship for many of those years. Remember, Christian Iden was racing one, wasn't he, in 2014, but they weren't legible for points at the time because not enough models of that particular bike had been made. But even so, the stats are the stats, and it would be 25 years since that last BMotor podium. Alex, though, he's got to get past Petrucci again. And talking of getting past people, Budiger then taking chunks out of Toprak Razgatlioglu. He's been watching him, as you said earlier on, James, he's been watching him now for most of the race, and he's got another 4 laps to pick and choose where he wants to try and come through.
There is absolutely nothing between them. I'm looking at the BMW, I'm looking at the Ducati, I'm looking at a Turkish rider and Italian at home with his special helmet delivery. It's the same beach and the same sea. That's what it says on the top of his helmet. But is it going to be the same result as last year, with Toprak taking victory in race 1? Nicolo Bulliga up the inside into turn 16 as they come across the line now with only 4 laps to go. I would not want to be the man to try and pass Toprak Razgatlioglu on the brakes around here.
We look through the heat haze as we move into lap 18, only 4 to go. Budiger's won here in Supersport 2 years ago. He's yet to win a World Superbike race, but we said the same thing at Moss, didn't we, a month ago? And we left there having had that superb finish, just 200ths between them, as Toprak claimed he had a traction control problem coming out of that last corner. This is Rio corner then, the double rights, right up against the perimeter wall there on the outside of the circuit. James was mentioning earlier on that on the other side of there, you've got the motorway between Bologna and the south of Italy. But look how close he is to him, and something's flapping around on the screen.
The screen is smashed as Toprak's bike been in the gravel and flicked a stone up and hit Bulliger's screen, because it is smashed in front of him, and that's going to be really putting the Italian off down the straights, because all his vision will be blurred. This is into turn 10, the hairpin.
A reminder that Budiger is on the harder SC2 tyre, which should give him more braking stability, and the development SCX rear, but that's the same as Toprak. Look how we're closing in, and we know that this Ducati tends to go much better in the hot weather than the BMW does. We are leaned right over, we're still cranked over. SC1 front, as you can see, for Toprak. Now, where's the lunge going to come? Because there's going to be one somewhere.
The hairpin. It is menacing, isn't it? To have a Ducati that close to you at the hairpins, the V4 growl, that deeper sound that the V engine gives compared to the inline 4 engine of the BMW that we're on board with. Brilliant, wasn't it, to hear Toprak's BMW screaming for mercy down that back straight into turn 11 as we've got 3 laps to go.
As Matt Roberts said earlier on, Valentino Rossi is racing right now at Le Mans in the 24 hours. Follow our coverage there here on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus, and there's lots of rumours of Budiger and Valentino maybe linking up again in MotoGP in 2027. Time will tell, but look at this, because Locatelli and Sam Lowe's have now joined in on the fun here as Alex tries to get past Petrucci, and Batista's coming as well. Alvaro Batista in 7th place. He's doing what he always does in the last third of the race, as James has told us so many times. Lighter fuel load, lighter rider, closing stages, and Batista, imagine Batista could get through from the podium. I think it's probably a bridge too far, and he's tried to go up the inside of Sam Lowe's. Look in the background, he didn't get through, but he's right up behind him.
Sam was doing really well, and he went too deep into turn 1. The camera just cut away and missed the time that he lost, but Sam lost a lot of time there through turn 1 and turn 2. That's why Alvaro Bautista is on him, and is that going to be the last chance for Sam to get onto this trio in front of him? It's Ducati, BMotor and Yamaha.
Well, if Batista wants to have a go, he's got to pass Sam now, but it's going to be difficult with similar levels of horsepower. Of course, they're both on Ducati motorcycles, but it's 1 second between Locatelli, who is 5th, and Sam, who is 6th. Can Alfred know? Sam's closed him off through there. Montella in the background from Lequona. Scott Redding's inside the top 10. Then it's Vierge ahead of Jonathan Ray. Ryan Vickers is 13th. Gerloff and Rinaldi on his return to Superbikes from Supersport, on target for a point at the moment as he takes Tito Rabat's place at Moto X Yamaha. 2 laps to go as Toprak crosses the line.
What a race Andrea Locatelli is having on the Yamaha. That Yamaha has not wanted to do what he's wanted to do with it all weekend long. There's been like 3/4 of a second off the lap. He's just made a few mistakes in that last split, but to be challenging for the podium, Locatelli should be very proud of himself. But here comes Alex. Oh, I thought he was going to do the same move again into turn 2, but Petrucci blocks him off this time. But Alex, oh, steady. Lost the front a little bit on the change in direction when it just loaded as it changed direction. A little bit unstable there from the promoter.
Yeah, I think Alex has been a little bit more cautious than he normally would, bearing in mind it's Petrucci. They are not the best of friends. In the meantime, Toprak has just extended the lead to 0.6 of a second, as you can see at the top of the screen. But can Lowe's now do anything about Petrucci? No, he can't. Batista, ditto with him in relation to Sam Lowe's, but Toprak's putting in a great penultimate lap. The lead is now up to 0.7 of a second, halfway around the lap here.
Wow, that is incredible, isn't it? Toprak just absolutely nailing it on the penultimate one here to put Nicola Bulliger under pressure. And that under pressure, that is exactly what he needs to do. Look, there is the gap. Nicola Bulliger can do nothing about it at this stage with just over 1 lap to go. This is turn 15, the penultimate corner. If the checkered flag came out on this one, it's 26 points is now the lead from 31 to 26 as we start the last lap, Greg.
We certainly do. Lap 21 of 21, a 0.6 of a second advantage. Make that 0.5 now as they cross the line. Toprak has touched the green paint twice in this race. I sometimes wonder whether he does it on purpose to extend an advantage, knowing you can do it twice. It's 3 times when you get the penalty, but he's got to be careful on the last lap, because if you do it on the last lap, you will be given an automatic demotion. We're watching the sector times very, very closely.
Yeah, well, it's 0.5 of a second at the moment. Toprak looks like he's going to dominate once again here in the championship. Is it really that surprising to have such another dominant win? It'll be his 64th career win and he's 7th of the season. Bulliger has 8, remember, across the championship year. What's going on our screen? There we go. So 8 wins already. It's been a calm race, a few bits of high action, but nothing more, as Petrucci holds off from Lowe's again. And Sam Lowe's and Batista trying to go around the outside. Locatelli desperately trying to get to Alex Lowe's and Petrucci in the battle for 3rd position, but not much going on there, unfortunately. 7th win of the season coming up then. Locatelli is our only other race winner, aside from Toprak. Oh, and there we see the inside manoeuvre. Batista tries the inside move on Sam Lowe's. It didn't work out. They went to the final sector with the checkered flag being made ready. Nothing Bulliger could do about that one, unfortunately. Toprak Razgatlioglu, MotoGP bound, better start winning and getting used to it here in Rimini. 8th, across the line, 64 career wins. He wins round 8 of the season at the Emilia-Romagna round of the championship. Well, that's better. That's better. Much, much better from Toprak. Bulliger in 2nd. But Petrux will come home 3rd and love every second of it. Alex Lowe's 4th, Locatelli in 5th. Now, that was a better race.
Petrucci, that's your 9th podium finish of the season. Sorry, his 6th podium finish of the season.
An equal best for Alex as well. He had a 4th in Most in the first race and now a 4th in the first race here at Misano. 16.6 seconds, though, these two were in front of Danilo Petrucci. What a performance once again from these 2 outstanding performers here in World Superbikes. And Toprak reduces the lead by 5 points.
Yeah, well, as TNT go to a break, podium confirmed. It is victory for Toprak Razgatlioglu, and JT will take you through the rest of the weekend's action. Next up, it's Le Mans. Thanks for your company, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.